As we wrap up Black History Month, the work to learn more about its meaning and the powerful stories, it definitely doesn't stop. In fact, many people believe it's important to continue these conversations year-round. Joining me to talk more about why this topic is so important for all families is Dr. Stephanie Boyce, the CEO of Fresh Classrooms. Good morning, Dr. Boyce. How are you?
Good morning. I'm great. Thank you so much for having me this morning.
So only a few days left in Black History Month, and as we near the end of this month, why do you believe it's important for people to pay attention to the efforts to disregard Black history across classrooms in America right now?
That's a great question. It's so important because what we see over and over again is that people's attempts at erasure when it comes to Black history is a red flag for all of us, right? We all know that Black history is American history, and in some ways the worst and the best parts of American history. And so it's important for us to safeguard that, to make sure that the stories, not just the historical concepts and figureheads, right, but to really understand what it means in terms of our economic striving and development, political striving and development, educational striving and development, all these different facets and what they actually mean for our country as a whole. It's important for us to safeguard that and make sure that our kids know so that history does not repeat itself, right? That's something that we've always said. So we have to be sure that we safeguard those things and tell the truth about what our country is so that we can continue to see progress as a country.
And Dr. Boyce, what kinds of things can families do to continue that they're ensuring that children are always learning about the contributions and history of Blacks across the diaspora?
That's very important. I say for us, I always like to consider our homes are our students' first classrooms before they go to schools, right? So no matter what's happening in schools and libraries and with legislation, at your home, you can make sure that you do things like audit your kid's library. Does the library at your home look like America? Do we see diverse cultures represented in the types of books that your child is exposed to, the types of movies that you're looking at, the things that you bring into your home, and even looking at your local community, how you celebrate and even support Black-owned businesses in your area? Does your child see you support these businesses? And do they understand the positive images all around them and how they all make up the diversity of our country and how important that is?
And Dr. Boyce, tell us a little bit about the work you're doing with teachers in classrooms.
So the Fresh Classroom is an acronym. It stands for Fun, Relevant, Engaging, Standards-Based, and Higher Order. And so I travel across the country. I've had the great privilege of training thousands of teachers on how to help them connect better to the students that they serve, to make their classrooms more engaging, and thereby seeing student achievement improve. And so that's really the gist of it, is how do we look at students' interests, their backgrounds, and instead of devaluing them, find ways to connect to them in ways that make our content feel really relevant and fresh for kids.
Yeah, you know, it's interesting that this history topic has become so controversial in communities across the country right now. What advice would you share with educational leaders if they want to ensure equitable learning experiences in the classroom?
That's an awesome question. I would say for most educational leaders, we got into this work because we have a heart for kids, right? We want to see the world be a better place and all of these things that we say. My advice is that they always ground down into data. Most of the time when they disaggregate the data, it will show them some of our instructional practices are working best for some students and not working as good for other students. If we change our framing around the way we think about data in that way, then I say as a leader, what do I need to do to help my teachers get more tools in their toolkit so that they can be more effective with more students the first time around, instead of trying to loop back around and catch kids on the back end. And so that's really my biggest advice. Ground down into the data and be sure that you allow everything that you do at your campus to be rooted in that data and not political partisanship and things going on around us.
And Dr. Boyce, lastly, tell our viewers how they can engage with you, find out more about you and the work you're doing.
Sure, they can visit us at www.thefreshclassroom.com for more information about purchasing our book, making donations. We do teacher giveaways and classroom makeovers. Anything about keeping teachers fresh, we're to go to.
Dr. Boyce, thank you so much for being here with us this morning.